Earning a slot in the season-ending Hardees Shootout is more than about winning. It's about earning the chance to chase a dream, to stand above the rest, to win the single biggest winner's check in the Pro Dirt Car Series. No matter what, the chance to become a Shootout champion is what brings the very best to Dixie. One will succeed, most won't. After 8 months of racing, it all comes to an end here tonight at Dixie Speedway. Hello everybody, Mark Allen along with my tag team partner Roby Helm. Happy to have you aboard here on Speed Channel for Pro Dirt Car Series coverage. Roby, even though the National Championship already decided, as well as the Lucas Rookie of the Year, a lot on the line tonight.
That's right, Mark. The electricity's in the air. This is the biggest race of the year. A big crowd on hand, big money up for grabs, and the big names are here, lined up and ready to go.
Well, Rick Eckert set fast time as the national champion, but setting fast time didn't mean a whole lot. Let's show you what happened in the first heat race. Rick Eckert set fast time, earned the right to start on the pole in his heat race, but he was shown no respect, Roby.
Got roughed up there in turn number 1, and there you see Rick Eckert up on the high side, gets into Randy Cordy coming off a 2, hits the wall and spins.
After leader Freddie Smith fell out of the heat, that opened the door for Skip Arp, who took the first heat and earned the pole for the feature. The second heat wasn't quite that dramatic, Roby, but not far from it.
Two former champions, Dale McDowell and Billy Moyer, battling side by side. Also two former Shootout champions. There you see Moyer working the outside, but it's Dale McDowell down on the bottom with the advantage coming off the 4th turn.
And that's the way it was for the first 4 laps before McDowell prevailed. The front row is set. We'll show you some of the other qualifying races in just a moment. Stay with us. We're in the heart of Dixie for the Shootout. This race brought to you by Lucas Oil, the official lubricant of UDTRA. By Advance Auto Parts, the best part is our people. By QPI, tools that outlive you. And by Hardees, the official fast food of Dixie Speedway. Welcome back to Dixie in the 3rd American Diecast heat race. Shannon Babb, never a winner in UDTRA, won that 3rd heat race to earn the inside of the 2nd row starting position. Meanwhile, a couple of moments ago, Doug Bland talked with our pole sitter.
Skip, tonight's win could be one of the biggest wins of your career. How do you like your chances?
Well, I tell you, yes, this place here is pretty mean, so we're starting in a good place. I mean, this deal here is kind of hard to pass on a lot of times, and we've qualified good. And you know, I told him it's a shame that don't pay nothing, but maybe tonight, you know, everything's running pretty good, and the guys have worked hard on the cars. So, you know, we're hoping everything will go good, and we can stay up front and, you know, try to win this race. It'll be the biggest race I've ever won, and the biggest race this team's ever won. So, you know, we're looking forward to it, just hoping everything will go good.
Well, it went well for Steve Shaver, the winner at Cumberland, who took the 4th heat race. Just a couple of moments ago, Doug Bland also caught up with our outside pole sitter.
You're starting from the outside front row. You won this race last year. What's it going to take home this $55,000 cash prize?
Well, it's going to be really interesting. I think Mickey Swims has done an awesome job preparing for this racetrack. It's going to be a lot like it was last year, so things are going to have to go our way. We don't exactly know. We're going to have to watch some of the preliminary races and see where the groove's going to be, if it's going to be on the bottom or the top. We're starting on the outside, but we've got a lot of heat right there behind us, so it's 100 laps too, and throughout the year we've been running a lot of 50-lap events. We've run very few 100-lap events, so we've got to gear up tire-wise and setup-wise for the long run, so it's going to be very interesting.
Speaking of interesting, in the first Consi race, Rick Eckert got absolutely zero respect, was nowhere near making the automatic transfer, but he knew as the series champion for 2002, he would get an automatic transfer into the feature on a provisional. The second Consi race was a completely wild affair. Starting at the very back of the pack, Donnie Moran, he has to race all the way into the field, got to get up to 3rd. He cannot get in on points alone. And Roby, you got 16 drivers, all eager. Here's the start.
Only the top 3 go on to the main event, so guys trying to get in a hurry early in the race, and here's what happens.
A big pile of cars now. How that specifically relates to Donnie Moran, he was nowhere near the wreck. 3 of those guys couldn't restart, so he automatically picks up 3 positions. But he's having trouble passing people on the track and does about the only thing he can do here to keep from being swept into another wreck. Here's what it looked like from his onboard camera.
Well, the bad news is Donnie Moran spun the car. The good news is he didn't hit anything, and he picks up 2 more spots.
So now he's all of a sudden getting closer, but then he's got to spin again to keep from getting involved in a wreck. The only move he could make, another view. Certainly not what you want to be seeing if you're the driver of that QPI Tools car. So Donnie Moran, through sheer attrition alone, is watching now as he has worked his way up to 5th. This is the battle for 3rd. If these 2 cars had wrecked, Donnie Moran would have made the show.
And Donnie Moran, in addition to trying to make the show, by finishing in the top 3, would automatically move into the 10th spot in the point standings, and that's worth $5,000.
But the bottom line is he did not make it by 1 position. Loaded up and watched the feature from his transporter. When we're back, the Crit in the Green from Dixie. Stay with us. The 13th annual Hardees Shootout is a who's who of dirt late model racing. 5 past Shootout champions here, 5 UDTRA champions, 7 Hall of Fame drivers, and of the 62 drivers entered, there are 227 wins at this racetrack. Taking a look at the starting field for tonight's race, Skip Arp is on the pole from Georgetown, Tennessee, in his Charter Communications Crown Fiber Pontiac. Next to him, Dale McDowell from Rossville, Georgia, the Larry Shaw Race Cars Pontiac. On row 2, it's Shannon Babb in the Cars City Chevrolet Monte Carlo. And in the 4th position, Steve Shaver from Parkersburg, West Virginia, the Richard Construction Monte Carlo.
3rd row on the inside, it'll be Randall Chubb from Mooresville, North Carolina, the Biscotti's Restaurant and Winery Grand Prix. Alongside him, Earl Pearson Jr. in the Dunn-Benson Ford Lucas Oil Ford Taurus. Chubb Frank starts on the inside of row 4 in the Corey Rubber Monte Carlo. Alongside him, former series champion Billy Moyer in the Pentroff Towing J&J Steel Taurus.
That's a driver we'll be paying close attention to tonight. Starting on the inside of row 5 is Billy Ogle Jr., the 2002 Rookie of the Year in the Calhoun's Restaurant Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Wendell Wallace in his JFR Monday Motorsports Pontiac starts in the 10th position. 11th, it's Steve Francis in the Valvoline Mopar Performance Dodge Intrepid. Bill Fry in the Petrov Towing Kuntz & Company Ford starts in the next position.
Modern day cowboy John Gill on the inside of row 7 in the Helena Grand Prix. Alongside him, one of the hottest drivers in the country, Brian Burkhofer, the Daufelt Transport Pontiac. Row 8 on the inside, Patrick Dugan, the DNR Construction Pontiac. Outside row 8, Lamar Haygood in the ABS Automotive Grand Prix.
Starting on the inside of row 9, it will be Bobby Turner in the Millwood Plumbing Chevrolet. Next to him, Rex Ritchie in the Underground Plumbing and Service Chevrolet Monte Carlo. On row 10, it's Jimmy Mars, 4th in the series points in his Jimmy Mars Racing Chevy Monte Carlo. Next to him is Scott Sexton in the Quality Heat and Air Pontiac.
Ray Cook starts on the inside of row 11 in the Youngblood Concrete Ford Taurus. Alongside him, Ricky Weeks in the Starrett Trucking Grand Prix. Former champion Clint Smith in the JP Contracting Monte Carlo starts on the inside of row 12. Alongside him, Vernon Smith in the Ideal Mobile Homes Monte Carlo.
And take a look at the who's who, the shotgun on the field. Rick Eckert, the 2001 and now 2002 series champion, and Freddie Smith, who was leading his heat. The very first heat had a mechanical problem, fell out, but had enough points to make the race on championship points. Rick Eckert already has clinched the title, but second place still up for grabs. Steve Francis has got to have a great race. Dale McDowell, not so good.
Freddie Smith in that 6th spot, Randy Cordy 7th, Ray Cook, Billy Ogle Jr., the Rookie of the Year for Lucas Oil, will finish 9th. Shane Tankersley, another Lucas Oil Rookie of the Year candidate, in 10th.
And the president of Lucas Oil is here tonight at Dixie to present that $10,000 Rookie of the Year check. Doug talked with him moments ago.
Forrest, we're proud to have you part of it. What do you think about our exciting form of racing here?
Well, I've followed this for years, watching it. I always hope someday I'd have a chance to be part of the UDTRA. Because back then, it was a Habitat series. This is the best racing to watch there is. There's some are better to watch on television. People really need to come out and see this live. This is the best.
Couldn't have said it better ourselves. The pre-race festivities were completely compressed. There is rain in the area. It will rain on this racetrack. The drivers know it. Will it affect the way they run this event? That's the question as the green flag is out. And right from the jump, Dale McDowell takes the point.
Dale McDowell knows they got to get to at least lap 51 to make it an official race, but here comes Skip Arp back on the inside.
So Skip Arp takes the lead from the pole position on the first official lap of racing at this 3/8 mile clay oval here in Woodstock, Georgia. Back toward the back of the pack, there are our 2 provisional starters passing Clint Smith.
Skip Harp now opening up about a 3-car length advantage over Dale McDowell. Drivers using 2 different grooves around Dixie Speedway, running up high and down low.
And because a lot of activities were compressed in this track, a lot less laps than usual were run. This is a great surface. Look at the side-by-side action between Shannon Babb and the 30 of Steve Shaver. Give it to Babb for the moment for position. Right behind them, the 1-star of Chubb Frank and the 114 of Randall Chubb. But back up front, Harp has now opened up a 4-car length advantage over second place, but we've got yellow on the track for the first time. Our spotters are saying it is for debris. And we will be right back. They've got the field quickly reformed for a double file restart. The man sitting on the inside of the second row, Dale McDowell, second in the series points, trying to hold the position over Steve Francis. And we talked to him earlier about how concerned he is about the man in third place.
I don't think that, that I'm going to be at all unless it comes down to the last few laps, and I need to be a little bit conservative, as far as trying to make a pass or not. But this year, all along, we've raced each event as its own, and that's what we're going to continue to do. And I think it's better racing for the fans like that. And obviously, I've been in points battles before, and they seem to get the best of you, and eat at you there a little bit. So we're just going to race it as its own race, and whatever the outcome is, we've given for 100% effort.
9 wins in the season, a remarkable campaign. Actually quite surprising that he is not the man atop the points. We'll talk more about that as the telecast rolls along. Our TV double file restarts behind the race leader. He gets a row all by himself. In this case, it is Skip Harp. Over the outside of Dale McDowell is Earl Pearson Jr., the winner at Dixie here back in the spring, as they're going side by side for lead. But major trouble over in the second corner. It involves the 2002 champion Rick Eckert. And it's also got Freddie Smith involved, and I think even Vernon Smith down to the inside that purple and yellow car.
Also, Scott Sexton in the 52 spun around in front of these 3 cars.
Now let's see if we can tell what happened again. I think we've got this on replay. At the back of the pack. Let's see, cars start checking up. That's what triggered it. Jimmy Mars barely got through. Doug Bland is trackside. Let's check in with him for an update.
Rick, looks like some tight racing out there. What happened?
That's good. It's just that double file restarts. The racetrack's a little choppy. That's just what happens sometimes. We'll get back out here and get after it.
Lamar Haygood on pit road, also caught up in that turn 1 melee. Started 16th on the field, one of the top local campaigners here at Dixie Speedway.
Boy, what a difference a year makes for Rick Eckert. He's already clinched the championship, fortunately, and we talked to him earlier about how the pressure is off.
This has been a whole lot easier week. Last year we were on pins and needles. We had lost some points and got real close there for this last race. And this year, fortunately, we wrapped it up last week, so we can come here and race hard and try to win. If we crash or something, it's not that big a deal.
So get ready to go back racing. Let's keep an eye on the outside of the second row there, or the first full row, if you will. Earl Pearson Jr. in that Lucas Oil entry won the Iski Dash last night, and on this most recent restart was looking real racy for the lead. Let's see which group is faster, the outside or the inside, as we are back under green.
Earl Pearson Jr. real confident coming into tonight's race. He'll step to the outside as Skip Harp coming off at 2.
And Pearson trying it to the high side. Gets up at, whoa, almost completely out of shape. Now he's fighting to keep his car under control. That is more than a traction issue. There is something wrong on that 1P car. Up to the high side of the track. We stay green for the moment. And because he's slow now, yes, the yellow is coming up. So we are back under yellow once again here at Dixie for the man who was in the 3rd position on the restart, but was challenging for the lead. Earl Pearson Jr. Clearly a mechanical problem of some type. The rain is coming. How soon? We'll find out momentarily. Back here at Dixie Speedway moments ago, Earl Pearson Jr. comes to pit road. He had started on the outside of the first full row. Now he's on pit road. Looks like any chance of winning is gone. Let's see it again, Roby.
There you see him get real loose coming out of turn 4, and as he gets back on the throttle, that car is just sashaying back and forth.
Let's go to Doug.
Ronnie Stuckey, crew chief, what happened to the car?
Looks like we got in there a little sideways, hit a hole, broke an axle on the rear end. They're going to go in there and see if they can make some repairs.
Are you guys going to be able to come back in and get back out?
We should be able to. We might lose a couple of laps. We're going to do the best we can do.
All right.
Ronnie Stuckey, one of the really important players on Pearson's team this year, has helped him to get to victory lane. Vernon Smith, who started 24th, you never want to see the helmet off and being pushed backwards before the end of the race. Looks like his night is over with. He'll reform double file. Now that puts Steve Shaver on the outside of that first full row. And he immediately ducks down to the inside. Rather than trying the high side, he wanted the bottom of the racetrack while everybody else behind them, an Oklahoma land rush.
It opens the door for Chubb Frank in the one-star car as he got up on the outside battling for third. But it's Skip Arp leading Dale McDowell, Steve Shaver, and Chubb Frank.
Where everybody's watching to see which lane will be the fastest. Dixie sometimes can get to be a one-groove track, but so far, in fact, we saw in that speedy shot, we saw 3 wide. But meanwhile, the fast way around this track is the one that Skip Arp is setting, but there's Wendell Wallace now working his way past Steve Shaver, moving toward the front.
And did you see how high Wendell was up there in turn number 1? They've been running right down on the bottom and maybe a car width above that, but now here is Steve Shaver battling with Randall Chubb. Randall Chubb trying to get underneath, and Wendell Wallace, and there's Billy Moyer in the 21 car also working the outside.
And next to him is the one of Steve Francis, that Mopar Intrepid. He's third in the series points. He has got to get some help from a mechanical failure for Dale McDowell, and he's got to get all the way toward the top positions if he has any hope of overtaking him for second in the points. Skip Arp, what a story this is. A driver who lost his car owner after 13 years earlier this year.
That's right. He drove for Ralph Curtis out of Loudon, Tennessee. For many, many years, they had a lot of success, but Ralph Curtis decided to get out of the racing business, and Skip Arp was without a ride, but he's picked up a good one with this Cromac racing team.
And he talked about the quality of the equipment he's in now.
Well, I tell you, it's good. I mean, the only thing is everybody here's got good equipment. I mean, it's just a tough old deal if you don't have it, and these guys here got good equipment, so, it's, I wished I could say we had better than everybody else and it was going to be easy, but it's never easy. I mean, they've got good stuff, and I know they got good stuff, but everybody else does too. So, hopefully our stuff will stay together tonight and be a little better than everybody else's.
Every single driver that you talk to in the pits throughout the UDTRA series, coast to coast, north to south, talk about the quality of the competition. They talk about, Roby, how tough it is to not only make the show, but then try to win a race. But we've got yellow on the track immediately on lap number 13 on the return, as it looks like up against the fence, a past shootout champion, Bill Fry, is totally off the pace, and that will take out any chance he's got of winning the race tonight. Tough break for the driver from Arkansas. Really nice fellow. Oh, by the way, Roby, I wanted to show you who the new color commentator for next year is going to be, your replacement.
I bet he works cheaper than me.
Ouch. Ow, that hurt. Okay, well, bada boom. Moving right along as the field is quickly reformed for the restart with Bill Fry off the track. Skip Arp still on the point, but Dale McDowell was starting to close before that yellow came out. Let's see what happens. Now in that double file restart, the benefactor of that is Chubb Frank in the one-star car to the high side. Looks like he's getting real racy for the second position.
Chubb Frank has been working that outside groove to perfection. He started 7th on the grid, has worked his way up on the restarts, and now he's coming up to battle Skip Arp for the lead.
And Skip Arp knows he's there for sure now, because that fender got all the way up toward the front at the start-finish line by just a half a car length. Skip Arp still on the point, but Chubb Frank has found something upstairs. Can he make it stick? Looked like he got a great bite, and he takes the lead.
Skip Arp, he may not be done yet. He was working well down on the bottom. Now Arp moving up the racetrack a little bit.
These cars do not have radios. They do not have rear view mirrors. All they may have is a crew chief or a spotter down on the inside of the turns, indicating to them where the fast spot on the racetrack might be or where other cars are. Meanwhile, the battle for 5th. Billy Moyer, a past shootout champion, getting a ton of pressure from Randall Chubb.
Billy Moyer working down on the bottom where he was working on the outside earlier. Got a good bite off of 2, shoots underneath Randall Chubb. But Randall Chubb's not ready to give up that position yet.
Frank already a 5-car length advantage. Battle back in the pack. It's between Jimmy Mars and Steve Shaver. And we talked to Mars earlier about the long grind of the season and what he's learned about it.
Definitely try to keep our consistency up. We got real consistent there, and then wanted to go the next step further and try to get winning some races, and then you back your consistency up when you try to get more on the edge of trying to get in the spot of winning. But it's just been a tough year, you know, keeping our maintenance program up. We've had some bad luck, but you know, it's just been, as far as failures, some parts, just, you know, stupid things happening. But as far as our maintenance programs, we've been real good, and that's been one of the keys to being as consistent as we've been.
Jimmy Mars has a lot to build on for next year, having a good year this year. And you know what he said is true, and it goes for all these drivers, no matter how good they are, Mark. They always keep learning things when you run this UDTRA Pro Dirt Car Series.
One of the things you have to learn is how to know when to save your equipment and know when to go for it, because these cars take quite a pounding, although they'll dismantle them and rebuild them a number of times throughout the season. This is tough racing. You see these drivers bouncing all over the place, and this is a great way to get a 100-mile-an-hour massage.
That's right, and of course tonight these drivers, they don't know if they're going to go 100 laps. They don't know if they're going to go 30 laps. We have rain coming. We're trying to get to lap 51 to make it an official race, but after that, who knows how long it's going to go.
There was Wallace, there was McDowell, there's Moyer, 3 past shootout champions, all running in the top 5. Then we got Randall Chupp and Brian Burkhofer. That's been a good battle going on. Steve Francis and Jimmy Mars, both in the top 5 in series points as we drop through the field.
There you see Ray Cook on the outside. He is 8th in points, his 8th consecutive top 10 finish in points. John Gill in the 75 car, the modern-day cowboy out of Mitchell, Indiana. Shannon Babb in the 18 car, and there you saw the 2002 champion Rick Eckert.
That gives you some sense of where everybody's running on the track. A reminder that our show during the holiday season will look back at the year, some of the very best action. Also the Iski Dash, 20-lap sprint race, paying a lot of money for only the fastest of the fast throughout the course of the season. You won't want to miss that show. Meanwhile, back up front, we've got Chubb Frank in that 1-star car. Now he is starting to overtake traffic, and Billy Moyer is also closing on Dale McDowell for position.
So we got a lot of drivers challenging for spots. There's Earl Pearson Jr. He went out early with a broken axle. Chubb Frank moving up on him. Earl Pearson Jr. several laps down to the race leader.
And lap traffic could be a factor here. There's both the high and low groove. Everybody's been groove searching. They've all switched at some point or other in the course of this race, as Chubb Frank has now worked around the 1W of Ricky Weeks, and now Skip Arp is attempting to do the same thing. They're threading the needle, working around Earl Pearson Jr.
Earl Pearson Jr. will move to the outside, let the leaders go underneath him, and now they've got a little bit of clear racetrack in front of them as Skip Arp trying to close back down on the 1-star of Chubb Frank. You can see these drivers using different grooves around the speedway, and Ray Cook is slow.
Unfortunately, the driver of the Youngblood Concrete Ford is off the pace on lap 30. He's having a strong run, but that is going to take away any chance for him of winning tonight. Back at the Hardees shootout moments ago, Ray Cook on pit road. If there's any doubt as to what the problem is, this is answering it: a flat right rear tire.
Well, it looks like we got the crew cam down there getting right into that action.
Well, this is one of the few tracks where the pits are actually on the inside during the race, so if it's anything minor in the way of mechanical problems, or let's say a tire problem, as was the case with Ray Cook, there's the shot of getting it fixed for our cameras. Side by side for the lead on the restart. Chubb Frank is getting that pressure once again from Skip Arp. Right behind him, the battle for third, Billy Moyer and Wendell Wallace.
Boy, Skip Arp really put the pressure on Chubb Frank on that restart. Got that front bumper right underneath him a couple of times, but that must have been the wake-up call for the shoestring traveler as he immediately jumped out, opened up a 3-car length lead over Skip Arp.
Look at Mars in the blue and white 28 to the high side. He likes it upstairs, getting good bike up alongside Dale McDowell, and he'll pick up another position. McDowell is fading.
Boy, Jimmy Mars got a good restart. Look at Shannon Babb as they're 3 wide. Shannon Babb on the outside cut down a tire early in this race, went to the pits, restarted the tail, and now he is back up in the top 10. Keep your eye on the Decatur, Illinois driver Shannon Babb in that 18 car.
Has never been to victory lane in a UDTRA race. Might be able to do it. A couple of cautions. The double file restarts is the great equalizer. The drivers on the point don't really like it that much, but everybody who's sitting behind them does.
Well, Chubb Frank started in that row all by himself, was able to hold off the challenge of Skip Harp. He's now opened up a 5-car length advantage on Skip Harp in car number 31. Here's Jimmy Mars moving up to battle Steve Francis.
Francis has an outside shot of getting up to second in the final standings. We talked to him a bit earlier about what he thought his chances were of overtaking McDowell.
That just that'd be par for the last 3 years. You know, it seems like we can be the first loser. It looks like this year we might be the second loser. You know, I feel a lot better if we weren't coming to Dixie with Dale, you know, as good as Dale runs here at Dixie, and following him in there 50 points behind is not where I really wanted to be. You know, we wanted to be right in the top of that battle.
He has still had a good year by any measure. There are a lot of drivers behind him in the series points that would love to be doing as well as he has done. Then other drivers had a terrific second half of the season is Brian Burkhofer. And we talked to him about why he's been so strong.
We got Masterbuilt cars last year about midway through the season, and we've continued to work on them, and we just got a rhythm and been riding it. You know, we've been consistent, and when you can run consistent, you know, I think the wins come.
And they have come. Won the World 100, 3 UDTRA wins, and had a brand new baby boy this year.
Meanwhile, there's no disrespect to any of the drivers in front of him, but Wendell Wallace running in the 6M car. That's him there at the left of the screen. His father, Hootie, passed away just 5 days ago, and he talked to us about what a win here at Dixie would mean to him.
Just words couldn't describe it or whatever, and that's the only reason I'm here. You know, I know he'd want me here racing, and that's why I'm here, and I guarantee you I'll do my best to try to win this race for him.
His best right now is pretty good, sitting there third, and has been able to close down a little bit. The question becomes, as we get toward the halfway point in this race and tires begin to wear, can he close up even further and pick off Skip Harp first and then Chubb Frank? But look at this. What a great battle has been going on between those two, Steve Shaver and Randall Chubb. It's been going off and on for the last few laps. We'll keep an eye on that for you. But here is Billy Moyer, who has just shot to the high side around. Wendell Wallace has taken over the third position.
Billy Moyer, the 1997 Shootout winner and the 1997 UDTRA champion. He's now in front of the 96 Shootout champion, Wendell Wallace, and Chubb Frank closing in on some lap traffic as Skip Harp right there with him.
And Frank knows he is there. He can hear him as much as anything else. As loud as these engines are, even though they are muffled, as loud as these engines are, he can hear other cars around him. So he's got a very good sense of where Harp is. Now they've closed in on the car. Ricky Weeks, oh, a bobble by a race leader. Harp takes the open door, jumps to the lead. But here comes Frank back to the high side. Who's going to get it at the line? It will be Harp. The lead has officially changed hands at the start-finish line.
But now Skip Harp has to try to work his way around Ricky Weeks, and here's Chubb Frank on the outside.
And Weeks, for the second time in 2 laps, has determined who the race leader will be, and I don't even think he knew what was happening. And Frank carries it into 1. Will he be able to stay there with no lap cars? Yes, Chubb Frank reassumes the point. Let's take a look at that sequence one more time, Roby.
Chubb Frank went in high, went to the bottom trying to get underneath Weeks, but had to check up. When he did, Skip Harp got the inside line, shot underneath to take the lead. Now Skip Harp is in front of Chubb Frank, but now Skip Harp has to try to negotiate around the 1W car of Ricky Weeks. He tried the same move that Frank did, couldn't make it work. Chubb Frank steps to the outside, goes back around to take the lead.
And only when Frank passed Ricky Weeks did I think Weeks even know what was going on behind him. Meanwhile, there's that Shaver-Chubb battle. Nothing has changed hands yet there, but what a wild sequence of events. That gives you a sense of what can happen when you get extended periods of green flag racing. The slower cars clearly can dictate what's happening, as Earl Pearson Jr., a number of laps down after a broken rear end early on, is aware of what's going on, and he steps to the high side to let the leaders pass him. Billy Moyer is also closing in now. But the good news with this mid-race field summary, that is lap 50. We have made halfway. It is an official race. Rain is in the area.
Well, Chubb Frank can now settle down and try to keep his race pace going. They saw the crossed flags from UDTRA starter Clifford Brabson, so they know we're past the halfway point. They know that we're going home after tonight. We're not going to have to come back tomorrow and finish this thing. So now these guys can let it all hang out. They have a strategy for early, a strategy for late, Now we're getting into the second half of the event.
They've also got a strategy for rain, which at this point is all the way to the floor. Smooth is fast is the expression. We are fast, we are under green, and we're going to break. We'll be right back. The campaign started 9 months ago. It comes to an end tonight. The series championship has already been decided. Rick Eckert clinched it at Cumberland, Maryland, the most recent event. But this is the highest payoff of the season for everybody who is invited here. You just don't drag your car 300 miles, show up and race. You have to have performed well in one of the early races in the season to earn an invitation. Now, Rick Eckert started all the way at the back of the pack after a crash in his heat race, and an indifferent performance, I think it's fair to say, in his Consi race, is moving forward slowly and could be one of our Advance Auto Part hard charger of the race candidates, as Skip Arp showed some strength there. Thought about going down to the inside of our race leader, Chubb Frank, but thought better of it.
And now Billy Moyer starting to stick his nose underneath Skip Arp in the battle for second, picking up.
3 wide, and some of those are lap cars, and Frank is already flashing back to earlier in the race when Ricky Weeks was in a position and he wasn't really sure what was going to happen. Frank goes to the inside of Rookie of the Year. Billy Ogle Jr. makes it work. Look how strong Rick Eckert is upstairs. This is a 2-groove, even a 3-groove track here on this 3/8 mile oval.
Rick Eckert trying to stay on the lead lap. You can see the damage on the left front of his car from an earlier incident. Chubb Frank down on the inside, going to try to put the 2-time series champion a lap down. Chubb Frank, a champion in his own right. He is a 3-time Renegade Series champion in the Midwest. He visits UDTRA often during the season, and he gives these guys a run for their money, because it's not unusual for Chubb Frank to pick up 2-3 wins in UDTRA during the course of the season.
He is certainly the man setting the pace here. There's been a great battle between he and Skip Arp before the halfway point. If you're just joining our telecast, the lead has changed hands at least 4 different times. Billy Moyer, the 97 Shootout champion, sitting in the 3rd spot, got as close as a car length behind Skip Arp, but has drifted back a little bit. Whether he's saving his tires for one final run or he has shown everything he's got, we're just going to have to wait and see.
They don't call him Mr. Smooth for nothing. He always seems to be there at the end. Each year during the shootout, there's the battle for 5th. Brian Burkhofer working to the inside of Wendell Wallace. He'll take the position coming off the 2.
Wallace had been as high as 3rd, but is now beginning to fade.
Mark, look at this racetrack. We are well past the halfway point, and there's still 2 and 3 grooves around Dixie Speedway.
Mickey Swims has done a terrific job of preparing this track for tonight's feature, as Arp could have put the chrome horn to Frank, chose better of it. And there is Lamar Haygood. Boy, does this look like deja vu, as coming off the 2nd corner, the slower car affected what Chubb Frank did. This time he made the correct decision and stayed in the lead, but coming off 4, didn't get that good a bite, and here is Arp once again. It's interesting to watch how at different ends of the speedway, Frank and Arp are showing different strengths.
Skip Arp is getting good bite coming off the corners, and he's able to close right in on Chubb Frank as they work around the speedways. We look at Dale McDowell, the 17M, still running up in the top 5.
Sitting in the 4th position, about to overtake the 2002 Lucas Oil Rookie of the Year, Billy Ogle, who clinched that at the Cumberland race. That was a deciding race for a number of things, the national championship as well as Rookie of the Year. And this is exact deja vu all over again. There's Ricky Weeks to the low side. This time Frank goes upstairs. Will it impact the lead? No, it will not, because Skip Arp is a good 4 car lengths now, trailing Frank.
Chubb Frank said, "You're not going to fool me again."
And Ricky Weeks is driving his line. He's done absolutely nothing wrong. It's just a matter of when you pick up the throttle, when you don't. That dictates the man behind you, how he responds to that. But look at Frank. Frank is even changing his line a little bit now, going a little bit higher and then diving down to the bottom of the track in turns 1 and 2. But if you watch him at the other end of the speedway, a slightly different approach.
He's right down on the bottom through turns 3 and 4, and Skip Arp electing to run the high line through that part of the racetrack into 31. He knows if he's going to get around Chubb Frank, he's going to have to be where he isn't. So Skip Arp taking a different line around the racetrack.
Harp is searching every piece of dirt he can find for the best possible traction. Look at, he's closed it back to a car length.
He's going to step to the outside, and there's lap traffic in front of the 2 leaders. We could have another change for the lead if things work out right in lap traffic as Harp. He's committed to the outside. Chubb Frank using different grooves around the speedway. It's all going to come down to a matter of timing when they move up on that lap traffic in front of them.
This is the kind of racing we have been seeing all night, not just necessarily on the point, but all throughout the field. Drivers have been able to use multiple grooves to their advantage, either low early and high late or vice versa. This has been one of the most versatile race surfaces we have seen all season long. Look at Art to the high side. He's trying it again. Looks like he could get side by side. Not quite do it. Is he going to dive downstairs and try a different line? No, he'll stay high and loses about a car length getting off the corner, but look, he picks up the throttle. There he is again.
There he's got that lap traffic in front of him, and this time Skip Harp is the guy that's got to back out of the throttle. They came up on the back of Patrick Dugan in the 15 car, and that is going to lose a lot of momentum for Skip Harp. Had to get completely out of the throttle.
And that has opened the door downstairs for Billy Moyer. A battle for second place. Give it to Harp at the line by 1 car length. But here we've got a great battle in the top 3.
And Billy Moyer got a little bit out of shape going into turn number 1, and he's in the wall.
Billy Moyer, who had been third, challenging for second, has now lost at least a good finish, and that's a loss of a tremendous amount of money. The foam rubber mud puck rolling down the speedway gives you a sense that there may have been contact. Here's what happened.
Something just broke on the race car as Billy Moyer went into the corner, and the front end just turned right and went right up into the fence. So that is definitely a mechanical failure.
Back at the Hardee Shootout, we've got 25 laps to go. The question is, with rain in the area, will we get them all in? So everybody's going to be charging extra hard as we get back to green flag. Chubb Frank in a row by himself gets a terrific jump and opens up a 3-4 car length advantage off the second corner.
Skip Harp started down on the inside, but now he's worked his way past Dale McDowell. He'll climb the banking in turn 4 as he wants to use that outside groove.
Shannon Babb in the 18 car having a great race. We asked him earlier about his chances of winning here.
I don't know. You just gotta roll out there and give it your best shot. We pretty much have got a handle on this race car, and that helps a lot. I've been running it all year, and just gonna be a little bit tire choice and setup choice about what we're looking at right now.
Babb, the only member of the Petrov posse still running here tonight. Bill Fry fell out early, and then just moments ago, Billy Moyer went to the sidelines. Meanwhile, back on the point, Chubb Frank now has opened up a nice, comfortable advantage, probably for the first time tonight.
Chubbzilla is now flexing his racing muscles.
Meanwhile, Dale McDowell is trying to overtake Skip Harp, at least pick up 1 position, and hope for a mechanical failure on our race leader. Frank has really had this track solved since about lap 40.
He's out to the biggest advantage that he's had all night, as you said before, Mark, and he is out there with less than 20 laps to go, or closing in on the 20 lap to go mark.
Meanwhile, Steve Francis trying to overtake Randall Chubb. Francis has been in the top 10 all night, but has never really been very strong. I think he's pretty much resigned himself to finishing 3rd in the championship standings, as long as he can stay out of trouble, and he has to crack the throttle there as Chubb was a good bit sideways. Ray Cook, after that flat tire, is back out, but look at this. Francis and Chubb putting on a show for the fans. It's been like this all night, all around the racetrack.
So far, Skip Harp unable to reel in Chubb Frank of the 1-star car. And he's slowing in turn 3. We are under caution.
Caution on the track. We've got Patrick Dugan slowing. He'll go off the backside of the racetrack. There are some raindrops starting to fall. The question is, how heavy is this precipitation? Is it going to force race officials to call a halt to the activities? Still sprinkling a little bit light at the moment, but it's starting to get a little bit heavier. And uh-oh, I think this is not a good sign at all. The umbrellas are coming up. It is now starting to rain really hard.
That's good for Chubb Frank, bad for Skip Harp and the rest of the field.
And that's it. The UDTRA officials know they cannot get this race restarted with this heavy precipitation, so Chubb Frank has got 55,000 reasons to smile at a rain-shortened race. We'll be back to talk to him in a moment. This race brought to you by Lucas Oil, the official lubricant of UDTRA. By Advance Auto Parts, the best part is our people. By QPI, tools that outlive you. And by Coca-Cola, the official soft drink of Dixie Speedway. And here at Dixie Speedway, it's all Chubb Frank all the time in post-race ceremonies. Let's go trackside to our man on the scene, Doug Bland, with our winner.
They call you Chubbzilla. You dominated this field tonight. Chubb, what does this win mean to you guys?
Oh, we really needed this at the end of the year. We've been struggling a little bit. We wrapped up our championship last week. That was a good thing, but we haven't been running as good as we should have. I want to thank Mike Swims for asking us to come down here. We had a couple races up home we thought about going to, and I really wanted to try this place again because last year was the first time we come down here, and we didn't run that good. We broke, and I thought, well, we can do better than that. I want to come back down here. We didn't qualify again good. We started 8th in the heat. Lucky we got 2nd, but the car, this car was awesome with a Dre motor tonight.
Now, did you know that Skip Harp and those guys, when you got in lap traffic, were coming right on your tail?
I knew they were there, and I wasn't letting up a bit. I knew if I slipped a cut once, and he got by me, and I got him back in lap traffic. He got bottled up behind a guy, and my car was pretty good on top. I really don't know how good his car was up on top, but I know it was pretty good on the bottom.
Well, Chubb Frank made the long trip down from Pennsylvania. He has 55,000 reasons to be happy.
Yeah, the celebration is on his tab tonight. Great finish for Brian Burkhofer. Wendell Wallace did a great job with a heavy heart here tonight after the passing of his father earlier in the week.
Shannon Babb comes back from an early flat tire to finish in 6th with Randall Chubb 7th, Steve Francis 8th, Mars 9th, Steve Shaver ran up front early, finished at 10th.
Ray Cook bounced back from a flat tire to finish 12th. Rick Eckert started all the way at the tail end of the field, worked his way to 14th, his worst finish of the season.
Patrick Dugan, who brought out the last caution before the rain, finishes in 16th. Billy Moyer up challenging for 2nd, broke something on the car, finishes 18th.
Tough night for Freddie Smith, started dead last, finished 25th. Vernon Smith was the one who finished at the rear of the field. Let's go back to Doug.
Skip, when we spoke prior to the race, you thought you guys had a chance to pull this one off. You come home 2nd, you got to be proud with that. What was it like out there?
Well, I tell you what, the racetrack ended up being racier than I thought. I mean, usually the bottom's the place to be, and Chubb, he drove right by me in the top. So, you know, he was awful good, and, you know, like to congratulate him. We'd like to win it, but we'll take his 2nd, too. And, you know, like I said, they done a good job on the track and actually could race in the top and the bottom both. So, you know, it just worked out good.
If the rain hadn't come, do you think you had something for him?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we was trying awful hard. And, you know, maybe, I mean, it seemed like when it started raining, it didn't take much to make that track greasy. And, I mean, a couple of times I felt like we was getting a little bit of a run. But now he was awful good, too. You know, if I could have stayed in front of him and knew that top was better early, you know, we'd have probably been okay. But, man, he was good, too. So, you know, he done a good job. We'll just try to do a little better next time.
Well, Forrest Lucas, the president of Lucas Oil, presenting Billy Ogle Jr., his Rookie of the Year check. He was also Rookie of the Race. Let's hear from him.
Yeah, I'd really like to thank Lucas Oil for putting this on for us this year. That's you know, it's a big plus for Lucas to get involved in the UDTRA racing. They're a big company and they're involved in a lot of different types of racing. And I'd like to thank my sponsor, Calhoun's Restaurants, for helping us out and up in the ante to travel all year and everything. And I'm just real excited that I finally won the thing and led it, you know, half the season. We had a rough start at the beginning, and midway through we got to rolling and took the lead, and kind of slipped a little towards the end, but we were finally able to wrap it up in Maryland, and I'm real happy about that.
And for the 2nd time this season in a UDTRA race at Dixie Speedway, Rick Eckert wins the Advance Auto Parts Hard Charger Award for making up the most positions from where he started. In the championship standings, however, lots of reasons to smile. Eckert clinches it. McDowell holds on to 2nd. Francis is 3rd. And in the second 5, there are no changes for position. Billy Ogle Jr., the Rookie of the Year. what a tremendous final race of the season, Roby.
Boy, it was, Mark. It had a little something for everybody. One of the most competitive and racy tracks that we've seen all year here at Dixie Speedway.
So that's the story at the Hardee Shootout. For Doug Bland in the pits and my tag team partner, Roby Helm, this is Mark Allen. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.